Alright guys, in this video, I'm basically just going to show you what the most important tool is for you to scale your 7-figure brand to 8 figures. Right? And if you don't know who I am, my name is Photiou, and I'm on a mission to help 1,000 supplement brand owners scale to $1 million months by helping them install reliable customer acquisition systems to basically just extract more profit from them. Now, the first thing I want to say is this is not the video you're going to be expecting, right? Because the number one tool is actually your paradigm, right? And if you don't know what your paradigm is, it's basically the thing that makes up your entire life, right? I'm going to go into a lot of fucking detail here. You can see I've got a Miro board. There's a lot of fucking detail I've basically just splashed out on this Miro board, right? But the first thing is that you need to understand is that your paradigm, right, the way you process information, it completely changes absolutely everything, right? It influences absolutely everything. It influences your business, your life, your income. It influences absolutely everything, right? You need to put that in bold because it's so important. You need to understand this. This is number one. You need to understand your paradigm influences everything. I'm going to show you exactly how in just a second. But let me just come here, right? So what you see here is a system, right? I want you to take a mental imagery screenshot of this because this is the most important thing you will ever see in your entire life, right? You have a system. So your life is basically, this is how your life works. You have input. Usually it's sensory information or imaginary information, right? So things come your way. That is input. Processes, right? This is how you process information. This is your paradigm. And you get an output based on whatever your processes are. And then from your output, you get feedback. That is how your reality manifests itself to you, I guess. It's basically how you are living your life. Everything that's around you, you look around your reality. If you don't like it, it is because your paradigm is wrong. And it is the number one easiest way to fix your life. It's the number one tool, right? This is why I called it a tool here. You can see, you were probably expecting to see some new version of Atria, or maybe some new Figma, or maybe some new way of designing creatives. I'm not going to sit here because if you don't have this right, if you don't have your paradigm dialed in, if you don't process information the right way, you're completely fucked, right? So let me get back to this, right? So now you know this, I'm going to go into a bit more detail here. I'm going to be going through this a bit quite quick. I want to rewatch this a couple of times, or you might just want to pause and take notes. But essentially, this is how your paradigm is created, right? So your paradigm is this big blue triangle, and within your paradigm, you hold certain beliefs, right? And these are beliefs on components of reality. So you might have a belief on, let's say, the economy, right? And you will have had experiences that made up those beliefs, right? I promise you I'm getting somewhere really good with this. It's going to be abstract for a second, but just wait with me for a second, right? So this is essentially how your paradigm is made up. And it's important you understand this because of the detail that we're going to go into in just a moment, right? But now let's have a look at how your paradigm actually influences your life, right? So let's say you're an 8-figure brand. Your paradigm directly influences how you see and perceive what you're thinking about, right? And that influences all the thoughts you've ever had. And that influences all the options you've ever perceived. And that influences all the decisions you've ever made. And that influences all the actions you've ever taken, which therefore creates your life, right? Now let's go the other way down. So 8-figure brand. You take actions that an 8-figure brand owner takes. That's because you decide to. And that's because those are the options you perceive. You perceive options that an 8-figure brand owner would perceive. That's because you've had thoughts that an 8-figure brand owner has. And that's because you see and perceive things like an 8-figure brand owner. And that is because you have the paradigm of an 8-figure brand owner, right? This is exactly how your life is equal to your paradigm. If you have a fucked up paradigm, your life, your goal will never be achieved, right? So let's take this component of reality, right? The economy, right? I'm just going to solidify this for you so you can basically understand how important this is. So we have 3 people, person A, person B, person C, right? And we're talking about the components of reality of the economy, right? So a lot of people think the economy is bad. A lot of people think that it's terrible, and therefore that's the reason they can't scale, right? Person A thinks that the economy is bad. Nobody's buying anything. Person B thinks that people are broke and it's so difficult to scale. And person C thinks people are willing to spend money on solutions, right? Now, person A is going to therefore think, if the economy is bad and nobody's buying anything, there's no point even trying, right? There's no point. I mean, nobody's going to buy anything anyway. They're just going to give up. They're going to go back to the 9 to 5. Person B thinks, okay, yeah, people are broken, it's so difficult to scale, but I'll try it a couple of times, I'll give it a go, right? Now, person C thinks, okay, people are willing to spend money on solutions, and therefore I'm going to keep going till I find a winner. Till I find a winner, I'm not going to stop, right? Now, who is more likely to scale to 8 figures right now? Out of these 3 people, if you guess person C, you are correct. Because, here's where it gets interesting. Person C wants the goal, the life of an 8-figure brand. Therefore, he tries to scale relentlessly. And that is because he decides to try everything, absolutely everything. And that is because he perceives scaling as an option. And that is because he is thinking of scaling constantly. And that is because he perceives people have money to spend on solutions. And that is because of his paradigm. Now you can start to see the importance of your paradigm. If your paradigm is wrong, and I say wrong as in it's wrong insofar as your goal, right? So you have your goal. In this case, let's say it's scaling to 8 figures. Your goal is scaling to 8 figures. The correct paradigm would be one that allows you to scale to 8 figures, right? Now, you're probably thinking like, okay, why can't I just do the work? Why can't I just do the work? Why can't I just, sit there and, just grind out the work, right? Now, I'm going to introduce something to you called cognitive dissonance, right? If I go here, I'm not going to read this out to you. This is a really long Wikipedia page. But basically, what this means, cognitive dissonance, it basically just means like humans cannot act out of accordance with their beliefs, right? If you believe red to be the best color, you're not going to go and tell somebody that blue is the best color, right? Another example might be the fact that you think all courses are a scam. You believe in your heart of hearts that all courses are a scam, right? I'm not saying they are. I'm not saying they aren't. I'm just giving you an example. Let's say you believe all courses are a scam, and therefore, because you believe that, you will never go ahead and buy a course because that would just be acting out of congruence with your current belief systems, right? Humans cannot act out of accordance with their belief systems. If you believe X to be true, then Y is immediately false, right? Now, why does this all matter? Well, if I come here, it's because your goal demands you to believe, right? Your goal demands you to believe X, Y, Z, whatever it is, right? Let's say it's scaling to 8 figures. I tell you right now, you're going to have to believe that scaling to 8 figures is easy if you want to scale to 8 figures, right? And how are you going to engineer your beliefs in accordance with your goal? Now, do you remember this pretty little diagram right here, right? Blue triangle is your paradigm. These are the beliefs you hold on certain components of reality. And the stars are either positive experiences or negative experiences with that belief that creates that belief around the components of reality, right? Now, if I come here, you're basically just going to see like, okay, so your brain remembers all experiences, right? It processes all of the experiences. But it cannot tell the difference between real and imaginary experiences. This is the really cool part. I'm going to show you exactly how you can just hack your way to 8 figures, right? So if I give the example, I'll put down here 2 different examples. So the cold ice and hot cold example. So basically what happened, there was a science experiment, right? And this was where somebody was basically sat down, probably with his consent, right? But somebody was sat down and they said, okay, we're going to bring a piece of hot coal very close to you, and we want you to tell us when you feel it's getting hot, right? So they grabbed the hot coal, the guy was facing that way, and they started like bringing the hot coal closer and closer and closer to him. And the man was like, yeah, I can feel that, that's really hot, yep. And the scientists go, okay. And they quickly switched out the hot coal with ice, and they pressed it against the man's back. And the man just started like, he started squirming, he started jumping, he started shouting and screaming, right? But the most interesting thing is that his back actually started producing blisters. Like it actually got burned by the hot coal, right? This is just, again, a testament to the fact that your brain cannot tell the difference between real and imaginary experiences, right? This is also the reason why, if you close your eyes right now and you imagine yourself getting into a bar fight, your heart is going to start racing. Your heart's going to start racing because your brain, again, cannot tell the difference between an imaginary experience and reality, right? What's actually happening. Now, the placebo effect, again, I'm sure most of you are really, really aware of what the placebo effect already is, but people give medicine to people that aren't actually medicine. It's just fake, and it cures the disease, right? So, again, this is just, again, testament to the fact that all your experiences can be created, right? You can literally create experiences, and if you create better experiences, right? If I come here, if you create better experiences, you're going to hold better beliefs about a component of reality that is influential to your goal. And if you hold a better belief about that component of reality that's influential towards your paradigm, is going to be engineered in a way where you can go ahead and actually, if I come back to this diagram right here, you can actually go ahead and you can literally engineer your life this way. If your paradigm is good, then you're seeing and perceiving things the correct way, and that's because you're thinking the right way. That's because you're seeing all the options the right way, and because of that, you're going to make the correct decisions, which means you're going to take the right actions, which therefore means you're going to achieve your goal, right? I'm trying to break it down because it is a really complicated subject, and I've spent a bunch of time, literally months, studying this stuff, And even now, I sometimes get a little bit hazy on this stuff. I still don't understand it 100%, but I'm trying to explain it in a way where you can understand it as simply as possible, right? So if I come back down here, so now we know your brain cannot tell the difference between real and imaginary experiences, and I've given you a couple of examples. Now, you can literally create better experiences by spending 30 minutes daily visualizing your goal and who you are becoming by achieving your goal, right? I actually have this thing here. I call it a self-transcendence document. I'm not going to go through it because it's got some quite personal details, but throughout it, it's basically just me creating experiences in my mind where I go through it literally before I start work and after I finish work, twice a day. It takes half an hour both times. And if you were to do that, the whole reason I do it is because it engineers my experiences. It creates these experiences in my mind where I'm visualizing things in a good light. And that's creating beliefs about different components of reality, right? Now, I do also want to preface this before I finish this video. I want to let you know that you cannot just, sit on your ass and do nothing all day and, just daydream, right? You actually have to go ahead and do the work because, like right here, it doesn't say, it doesn't go to paradigm. It doesn't go directly from paradigm to your life, right? Your paradigm, if you have the correct paradigm, that influences a chain of different actions. And those actions are what's going to take you to 8 figures, right? If you take those actions, you will hit 8 figures. But you can only do it if you have the correct paradigm in place. Again, because of this cognitive dissonance thing, right? So yeah, and that's that basically. I know this was a really short video, but yeah. Oh, and if you are trying to scale your supplement brand to 8 figures and you're stuck between 250k and 600k per month in revenue, and you just, you can't for the life of you figure out how you can actually get to that next stage and get to those 7-figure months, then I'm going to tell you to click the first link in the description. I'm not going to try to sell you anything. It's literally just a video going over the 3 most vital pillars to scaling any supplement brand to 7-figure months. And it's basically just how my company can help you if that's what you would like. Now, you can click the video, you don't have to. I don't really care. It's up to you. And okay, yeah, it is a funnel, and at the end, I am going to try and sell you on our done for you service. But again, if you want to click on it, click on it. If you don't, I don't really care. And yeah, if you like the video, then please be sure to approve it by hitting that like button. And if you want any other questions clarified or you want something answered, then go ahead, comment them down below and subscribe so you can actually see when I go ahead and answer your questions, right? And that's also because I create a bunch of content on how to actually scale to 8 figures with your supplement brand. And because it also helps me a bunch, so I really, really appreciate it, right? But yeah, again, thank you again for sticking to the end of this video. I really do hope that you have an amazing day and you make a ton of money today.